Hey there, Tracy here for Trinity Stamps with another video for you. And in today's video, I'm going to make a slimline card using our tiny aliens. And we are going neon rainbow. I know you guys are probably tired of neon from me, but this will be the last one. I don't promise. Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so I've got all my supplies that I need. I've got our tiny alien die set. And I'm just going to be using him multiple times. And then I'm going to be using this Reach from the Stars from the Cosmic Carrots. And then I may use some of the stars from these little stars right here. And this is the Astronomical Gnomes. And then I'm going to use my favorite bloop. I don't know what to call that other than a bloop from the Milky Way stamp set, all from our latest release. So let's set these aside and get started. To start out, I need colored paper, and today I'm going to be using my Simon Hurley Neon Lunar Paste, which I rarely ever get out of the drawer. So it's time to get this stuff out because I don't have any neon paper or neon ink. Not a huge neon fan. I know that's surprising, but it is what it is. And I am doing rainbow. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what I do. So I grab my paper, and I'm going to do 2 per page. And I'm going to grab the Hot Mess color. I'm just going to put some on my finger tool. And I'm going to spread it out on the paper so that I've got enough to fit my tiny alien and all his parts. So that's all I'm going to do. And we have to wait for this to dry. So, you know, there's that. But you do get a really nice shiny effect with it. And we have to, you know, wait for it to dry to really get the shine. And it really doesn't photograph as much as well as I would love it to. So then I'll take my second color, and I've got all the colors here, and they're all dry and ready to go. So now all I have to do is cut out my aliens. And I go ahead and cut these in half so I can fit them through my small die cutting machine. I'm going to grab my tiny alien, and I'm going to cut them all out. And, I mean, couldn't be easier. There's not a lot of parts to this guy. So I'm going to grab my small platform. I'm going to grab my tiny alien. And yes, friends, I don't store my dies on magnets. I just can't. It's too heavy for me to try and lift the box of everything. So, and then I've got the little eyes, and I'm keeping their eyes the same color. And then I'll go ahead and run this through. And the lunar paste cuts out beautifully. As long as it's dry, you have to make sure it's dry. So I'll get all my little parts, and I'll put all my parts into a parts tray. And let's go ahead and poke this part out. See, it comes out super easy. And then poke little eyes out, little eye color. I'm going to use some black jewels for the pupils of the eyes. So I'm going to cut all the rest of these off camera, and then when we come back, I'll show you how to assemble one, and then we'll start putting our card together. So super, super easy to put together. I'll just add a little glue. Now each one of these little guys is going to have a little different expression on his face, so you'll see that later. So I'll grab the whites of the eyes, and they're all going to get turned different ways because, again, I want each one of these guys to have a different expression, like a group of friends would be. So his eyes are rather close set. Then I'll grab little eye colors, and I'll just dip those in the glue that I spread out on my hand so I don't go over glue. And then I cut out the little smiles, and that's out of some black mirror cardstock. And I'll just glue a little smile on. I'll do the rest of these off camera, and then we'll be back and you'll see them all in their beauty. So I use the gloss black little embellishments, and I'm using the tiniest ones for the little pupils of the eyes. Because why not be bejeweled, right? There we go. And got a little excess glue on there. Just tap it off. And there's the little guy. And here's all the little guys with all their different little expressions set up in rainbow order. And so now we need to make our card. And that's the reason that I made a slimline card, is because there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these guys. And I want them all to be on one card and not stacked too high on top of each other. So what I'm going to do, I've got a gray piece of paper here, and I've got my compass. This is, you know, real technical drawing, and I'm just going to draw an arch. And you can do this by hand if you want, but listen, if I try to do it by hand, it's just a hot mess. And then I'm just going to kind of rough cut that out. So I'm not trying to get perfect cuts. I want a little shape to it. And then I'll decide where I want it on the card base or on the card panel. I have to decide where my little aliens are going to stand. And then I'll just draw a line and then just cut it off a little bit, you know, below the line or right around the line. That way I can glue it on, and it's going to be their surface that they stand on. You could use the crater stencil if you wanted to, but it's not quite long enough for a slimline card and doesn't quite have the shape that I'm looking for, so I just handmade it. So I've got my card base. Now I'm going to grab a piece of black cardstock. So the card base itself is purple. And I'm going to cut that down to 3 3/4 by 8 1/4. And that's going to be our background piece. And this is the Tim Holtz black paper. It is so black. It's super black, and it embosses beautifully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp out all my little stars, and I'm going to be using my Ranger Neon powders, embossing powders on my stars. So like I said, going a little bit neon here. So I'm going to hit this with my anti-static powder tool, and I feel like not enough's coming out. You really want to get good with the anti-static powder. So I'm going to grab the bag that just really lays it on. And no worries, it wipes off later. And that does help me see where I've stamped, because I am hand stamping, which isn't something I often do. But it helps me see that I've covered completely the area that I want to heat emboss. And I'm going to do these one at a time. So one design and one color at a time. So I'll do these little dealy bobs, for lack of a better name. I love this. Probably my favorite stamp in the whole set is that little dealy bob thing. It's just so retro. So I'll pour back my embossing powder, and then I'll go ahead and heat up my embossing tool. Okay, so apparently I don't do them one at a time. See, it's been a minute since I made this video, and I'm doing the voiceover now, so apologies for that. But I am going to stamp and spread the color one color at a time. And I'm just putting these stamps kind of together. I'm going to set one off to the side. Not entirely sure if I'm going to use it or not. And then I'll go ahead and stamp out these little guys. I think the reason I changed my mind was because I still wanted that nice thick anti-static powder on there, and I didn't want to put several coats, because I still want to be able to see where I'm stamping. And then I'm going to use the yellow neon for those stars. Just tap that off. Okay, so far so good. All I have left on my stars is I'm going to do a blue neon. I only have 4 colors, and I'm going to use the green neon, I think, for my sentiment. So I'll go ahead and add this last little star here, which is a set of 3 little smaller ones. And they're, again, kind of that retro shape. They're not actual star shapes. And I love that. I do. It's still, you know, it's stars. It's just 50 stars. So we'll grab the blue neon embossing powder, and I'm just trying to pour it just on the little star areas, and it worked out just fine, and I'm happy with it, other than the fact that I have it spilled all over my craft mat, which is silicone and very hard to clean. So when you see me next, that'll be clean. So I've gone ahead and heat embossed those off camera, and now I'm putting them down into my splat box. And remember my little planet is kind of gray, so I'm going to grab my Dr. P.H. Martin's, which is very watered down, and I'm going to go ahead and flick some splatter on there with my fan brush, so that we do get more of an outer space effect. And I'll get some on the gray, get some on here, and I want it, you know, pretty random, but also pretty thick. So lots of them. And then all we have to do is set that aside to dry, and then I'll wipe it off one more time, and it'll be perfectly black. I think I want to add a little bit of gold, though. gold or silver. I don't remember which one I used out of here, but these are my watercolors that I use for, and yeah, I'm using the platinum color. So I want to get it nice and wet, and then I'll grab another brush, maybe the same brush, I don't remember. Nope, I'm going to grab a different brush, and then I'm just going to grab this little paint, and I'm going to flick some of this kind of, it's a sort of an iridescent-y silver, and I'm going to make sure it's nice and wet. And this stuff, again, it's another one of those things that once it dries, it's shinier than when it was wet. So I'll flick some on my little planet there, and then I'll flick some on my background. Then we'll set that aside to dry. So the main hard part about this card is the drying part, and that's only hard because we're crafters and we don't love waiting. But I don't want to use a heat tool either. And now I'm going to use a little tool, and I'm going to get tiny, tiny little splatters out of this. I'm just using anything hard I can find. In fact, I'm using my little pokey tool here, my little pick and stick tool, whatever, to really get some massive stars on there. So I've got this all finished here. I've got the planet glued on. Now, no, I don't have the planet glued on. Okay, I'm going to lay my background down and see how I was able to clean off the embossing, what do you call that stuff? The anti-static powder came off really well. Just a damp, just spray a little paper towel or your lint-free cloth. Just make it damp and wipe it down and it'll come right off. And let's see if I can do a carry here. Nope. That is the worst star I have ever seen, but there it is. I love how she just naturally makes a heart on hers. I think it's so cool. Okay, so we'll get this evenly down on here. And I chose purple because, again, I don't have any neon paper. I don't think I would buy any. If somebody sent me some, I might find a use for it, but I don't think personally I would purchase neon paper or neon ink. But I do have some neon things, and they're perfect for these types of projects. So we're going to go ahead and glue down our little planet here. And I'm just going to trim that little excess off there with my scissors. You can sand that too if you want to. And I just want to make sure it's down at the bottom. I'll just use some liquid glue, and then all I have to do is glue on my aliens and do my sentiment. And I've got a fun little neon rainbow Slimline card for you guys. So I'll have all the products I use listed in the description box down below so that you can shop. They are my affiliate links, and I appreciate every time you click and shop from my links. And just be on the lookout for more fun stuff coming from our Trinity Stamps design team and coming from Trinity Stamps themselves. So I want to set these up in rainbow order again. So I know that I need to have my red and then my orange. And I'm just arranging them on here, and notice how they all have a different expression on their face. So that they're just like a group of friends hanging out, standing there waiting for the photographer to take their picture. You got your good kid, you got your goofy kid, you got your smirky guys. I think this is no, that's not the goofiest kid. That's the happy kid. And this is the goofy kid, you know, class clown kind of guy. And they're going to get laid down on here like this. So I'll do the back two without any kind of, you know, foam tape or anything. I am cutting just scraps of my black paper so that it sits evenly across that planet. So I'm just using it as kind of a shim, and I'll just glue that directly down, and then it'll be a shim kind of holding him even with the planet. Just like so. And the way I do it is I'll glue him down, and then I'll glue the one on the other side, on the right-hand side down, and then go from there. So I get, you know, a fairly good spacing with them. Get some on his little feet. And here he is. So you really can't see the shine on these little guys on camera as much as you can see them in person, this goofy one. These are fun also if you use googly eyes. This has been a fun release and it's been well received. People love this stuff. So I'm super happy for Trinity. Okay, here we go. Get this little flat piece on here. And I probably could have sped this part up. Didn't think about it. And I'll try and get him in a spot where he has about an equal amount of space between his hand and the bottom of the card. And then I can glue everybody else down. Whoops, his little mouth wanted to come off. Let's get a little more glue. Sometimes I get a little stingy with the glue. You want a good amount of glue on top of the lunar paste because it's plasticky. There we go. He's so goofy. Okay, and here's the, I don't know, spacey kid. There's another happy, smiley kid, ready for the picture, ready for lunch, whatever. And we'll just glue the rest of those down. Let's see here. Where did we go from here? I know that oh yeah, I'm looking for my foam tape. It's always me looking for my foam tape if you don't see me for a second. I have so much of it to choose from. So this is a lower profile foam tape, and I'm going to pop these second guys up. Try and be careful of the antenna there. You can put little gems on the antenna too if you want to. Right, and I use my tweezers because it's just easier for me to grab things with them. And I don't mind if the guys cross over a little bit because he's, standing in, basically kind of in front. Because I don't know of any fifth grader that actually stands in line like a, Well, that one on the left, he might be the good kid. All right, we'll get these guys down. We'll get the last two down. We'll get the sentiment on. Sometimes I struggle with the backers because I don't keep any nails. Listen, I'm a person whose nails split all the time and peel. And I try. I'm like, let's grow some pretty long nails, and I will. And then, boom, they'll start splitting again. So now I'm going to put a higher profile foam tape on these last two middle guys, just so we get that depth. And there I am again looking for my thicker foam tape. So this is about 2 millimeters. So I didn't go with the highest one. And notice I have all their heads cocked to different directions too. So we have all the same die, but each one of them looks a little bit different. So here's this guy, and he's looking at his friend. They're both looking at each other like, can we just get this over with and go to recess? And I don't know why I think of these little aliens as little kids. I mean, they could be adults. If that's the case, then they're all standing around the water cooler. There we go. And they're almost holding hands, but not quite. Just a little bit. Aw, aren't they sweet? And then I did the Reach for the Stars with the green neon on the same black paper. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that up as well, and this card will be finished. I'm glad that you came and hung out and watched the video. Really appreciate it. And if you're not already subscribed to the Trinity Stamps channel, we'd appreciate it if you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell so that you're notified each time that one of our designers uploads a new video, because the inspiration just never ends with this team. We have a phenomenal team of people. So here it is, our little neon Reach for the Stars card. Here it is close up. So you can kind of see the shine on the little alien guys. And yep, I'm trying to decide who each person is based on the expressions on their face. Here, that one, that green one, he's a real goofball. But purple, he takes the cake. And there they are with the sparkle in their eyes. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Everything's in the description box below, and I'll leave you with some still photos. Thank you so much for visiting the Trinity Stamps channel and watching my video. I hope you have a fabulous day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.